So, this is how they came up with A Good Day to Die Hard. John McClane, you've changed things forever. There's no going back. It's simple. We kill McClane. With all due respect, you don't kill the man. You go after his legacy.
Oh, yeah. First, we will break him. When it is over, when it is done, and the Die Hard franchise is in ashes, then it has my permission to die.
No crap, that's what happened. This film was directed by John Moore, the guy who directed Max Payne, which, by all accounts, is a terrible cinematic experience, an awful movie. So why on earth would you let this guy take over a franchise for even one film? Why would you give this guy another gig ever? Because this guy has been in what they call director's hell, which is he hasn't directed anything in 5 years between Max Payne to what he did with A Good Day to Die Hard, and it's very evident in this film. I'm one of those people that can buy almost any concept. I mean, I watch alien movies and I can totally buy it, and I could even buy the Die Hard 1, 2, 3, and 4. I mean, I like 1 and 3 and 4, but not 2. But still, I could buy the crazy stunts. I'm like, okay, that would never happen. But you know what? That is awesome. The difference is there's all these crazy stunts, but they're not even awesome. Because the director doesn't know how to film action scenes. The director, this also goes into editing and producing problems. The entire film looks like crap. Like, the background is crap, and at times it's literally very obvious that there's a backdrop. And even when it's not, it's still not pretty because it looks like the background from Taken 2 where the sky's all disgusting looking and the place looks like dog crap. It's just like, but here's how awful the directing is. During the action scenes, there's a villain who... So, he's just like, laughing really obnoxiously and being a moron. And then there's John McClane's son who's like, blank you, McClane, blank you! Ah! Whine like a baby! I'm a CIA agent, but I cry like a baby, basically, the entire movie! All he does is whine like a baby throughout the whole movie, and John McClane whines like a baby throughout the whole movie, too. But during the action scenes, he's like this. He's just smiling and doing crazy stuff and saying one-liners that aren't funny. That's pretty much the best way to sum up the 15-minute action scene that, there's like 3 of them total, but there's one 15-minute one that they were like, it took us 3 months to film this. And it's literally one of the worst fight scenes I've ever seen. The direction of the acting is awful because some of these actors have done good things like Bruce Willis, and in this movie you can tell that the directing is very awful by the way that he's performing. So it's just like, let's get into the writing. The directing and the writing are what really failed this film. Skip Woods, writer of the A-Team and X-Men Origins Wolverine, and A-Team was kind of fun, stupid thing. X-Men Origins Wolverine is kind of a mixed bag, let's put it that way. So in this case, the writing is awful. One of the things that is really fun about action movies when they have good one-liners, none of the one-liners are good. None of them land. There's only one line in this movie that is exactly perfect. The son tells him, "You shouldn't be here, John," and it is so true. So as I was saying, the writing is dog crap. That entire movie is basically these characters whining about stuff or being obnoxious. For example, they wrote this villain who literally chews a carrot obnoxiously, and he's like, you're like chewing it, and he doesn't even, he keeps chewing it even when he's not taking another bite of it, which doesn't make sense because it keeps going on for way too long. That's supposed to make him a villain. That's one of the direction problems and the writing problems. The villain literally starts dancing when he captures John McClane. He's like, I could have been a dancer. And I was like, time, and the plot of this movie is almost impossible to explain. Basically, John McClane finds out that his son's been arrested, and so he goes to Russia, and he proceeds to get in a bad situation where his son trying to protect this political prisoner, and there's these group of people after him, and they're after uranium apparently, and stuff is just stupid. And it's a very convoluted plot. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. When you watch it all the way through, you're like, what? And to give you an idea of how bad the script is, and how bad the editing and everything is, there's really a part where Jack takes John McClane's wallet. And then 5 minutes later, if it's five, John McClane pays someone off with the same wallet, takes out money out of it. And this film's only an hour and 30 minutes long, but I have to say, it felt like 5 hours long. It felt like it was never going to end. I had trouble getting through the whole movie just to review it. I said, I'm going to review this because this movie deserves to be trashed upon, but it was an exercise. The biggest sin of this movie as a film is that Bruce Willis is in it, and yes, he's had bad performances, and yes, he's done some bad movies, but in this movie, not only is he bad, but he's so unlikable. It's just, there's nothing really to enjoy in this movie. The action is terribly shot. Everything's immature-ish. The acting is terrible. The writing is terrible. The editing is terrible. Everything about this movie is pretty much terrible as a film. To the fact that it's supposed to be a Die Hard film, it makes it 10 times worse. The villain in this movie is an atrocity to film. One of the worst villains ever conceived, and so are the other villains in this movie. They're all awful. They're all some of the worst ever conceived, and I'm not kidding. And as a Die Hard villain, it's even worse because Die Hard villains have a high standard of villains. There's a villain in the first one who's played by Severus Snape himself, and he plays Hans Gruber in that film. Amazing villain. Jeremy Irons, who was Scar in The Lion King, was in Die Hard. And then Die Hard 4, they had Timothy Oliphant. I think that's how you say his name. He's on Justified, and he did a good job. Not a bad job. Not a terrible villain, but it's cool because he's a modern villain that helped modernize John McClane. And that's another problem this movie has. They modernized John McClane, they modernized the problems, and this movie basically sets everything back into a stone age of just stupidity. Die Hard films, they have some pretty implausible parts to them, ridiculous stuff, but at the core of what it is John McClane. And John McClane is this guy who gets in the wrong situations because he's in the wrong place at the wrong time. He does not seek the situation out. But in this movie, he does. He goes to Russia looking for his son, and he gets there. And you know why he does the entire movie? He says, I'm on vacation. I'm on vacation. No, you're not. You looked up your son's profile, and you knew that he was there, and vacation does not mean that. That is also an example of how stupid the script is. They misuse the word vacation. It's like they didn't go to elementary school before they wrote the script. And in Live Free Die Hard, they did some insane stunts where he jumps off a plane and slides down a highway without getting really banged up. But at the end of the movie, he's always banged up in some way. Not like he should. He should be dead. By the end of every movie, there's some point where he kind of should be dead. And in this movie, he just has scars, really. I mean, he's more superhuman than he's ever been in this one. The problem is that in the other ones, he's always allowed to get hurt some, just not enough to die. And that's cool. But in this movie, he doesn't even really seem like he gets that hurt. And he's also not supposed to have a way out. He's supposed to be stuck in this situation or fighting for a noble thing. Like, these people are terrorists. I gotta stop them. These people are terrorists, but he's stopping them for selfish reasons. And his son is selfish and annoying, and it's not a Die Hard film because John McClane is not John McClane in this movie. And the action is not Die Hard action. Is it stupid and over the top, trying to be like some of the awesome over the top action in the other Die Hard movies? Yes. But the problem is, when you do everything else wrong, and you get into the action scenes, it doesn't matter what else you did. You've totally set yourself up for failure. And the action scenes are filmed just like the rest of the movie, so it's absolute crap. And so when you have crap everywhere, and then even the action scenes are crap, there's no escape from the crap in this movie. It's the kind of movie that makes you very ashamed, and it's the reason I believe in this thing called endings. It's what franchises need to stop from being absolute dog crap eventually. Hollywood, unless you're doing the James Bond franchise, you almost always need an ending, okay? So, when you come up with a franchise, you should have to come with an ending too, because this crap happens. You go from a classic movie all the way down to 25 years later, you get this. This movie is a letdown in every way. Everything about it's awful, both as a normal film and as a Die Hard film. It's the worst movie of the year so far. I hope there's nothing worse, because it'd have to be pretty awful to get this rating. I have to give this movie a 0 out of 5, which means it's complete horse crap. Okay, so let me know what you think about the Die Hard franchise. Do you think it's too over the top? Do you think they should have stopped at 1? Do you think it should have stopped at 2 or 3 or 4? And let me know if you actually liked 5, why you like 5. Feel free to explain your point of view. Feel free to agree with me if you want to. Whatever you want to do, just let me know. And tell me what's your favorite action movie series. This is one of my favorites, and I'm going to exclude Die Hard 5 from ever existing because it's not really a Die Hard movie, so I don't think it should be counted against it. It's a Batman and Robin type thing where it's just like an abomination to everything. So, just let me know what you think about that, what you think about terrible sequels. Do you think that franchises should have to have endings? planned out, or do you prefer the episodic approach? Just let me know. Feel free to give me a like and subscribe.